Hello and welcome to this week's coffee vlog. It's now Friday the 29th of September. I'm heading home at 5:45, so not terrible, not great either. I appear to have picked the time when everyone's going along this street. It's been dead for ages, but now all and sundry are coming along it just as I want to leave. Typical, isn't it? So this week has, on the whole, been considerably better than last week, which didn't take much. Yes, apologies if last week's vlog was a little bit brief and lacked a bit of luster, but I was pooped, to be honest. Actually clocked it as 368 miles I did over last Thursday and Friday, between airport, Carlisle, and back to the airport. And it was pretty heavy going as well because it was wet for quite a lot of the journey, both up and down again, so that's always a bit of a strain on the old brain, plus all the work getting done and everything else there. So and trying to deal with someone who speaks Turkish and no English, and I speak English and no Turkish, and trying to work together with them requires considerable amount of effort, to be honest. So, but we got there, and it all seems to have been successful. So, as far as I can tell, anyway. So, yeah, so that was all sorted out. So yeah, I'm back on finer fettle this week. Seems to be not so bad at work. Just catching up, obviously, what I missed for the latter part of last week, and then getting on with some more coffee roasting, and also we had some more people come and look at the roaster as well. So I did quite a lot of roasting this week, actually. Square Chapel are getting through a fair amount per week now of coffee, so I've got a regular job on roasting theirs, and then I'm getting other loads out one way or the other, so it's all pretty good, to be honest. Let's just sneak past this one. So yeah, that's all been going well. Now, macOS High Sierra's come out this week, the public version, obviously. Now, I've run the beta on the MacBook Air since it was available for macOS High Sierra, and on the Air it's not been too bad. I mean, it's had its odd ups and downs, but it's been mostly all right. It's not been terrible. But then I thought, with the public release coming out, you know, what we'll do, we'll put it on the MacBook Pro, because, you know, why not? It's the public release. The Pro should now be alright. So, so I installed that. I think it was Tuesday I actually got round to installing it on the Pro. Took forever and a day, of course. Fortunately I got on with some other stuff around work while the MacBook Pro was busy chuntering away installing it. And I've got to say, if you haven't installed macOS High Sierra yet, don't. Under no circumstances ever install macOS High Sierra. Well, not until they actually release a couple of updates, incremental updates that fix all the damn bugs, because it's full of bugs, absolutely chronic. Or it is on my MacBook Pro. I mean, maybe it's just my MacBook Pro that's just got it. But it was fine, absolutely fine on macOS Sierra. Installed macOS High Sierra, and it is pretty much awful. Just the bugs, it just makes you wonder if they even checked to see if it was ready to ship public, or if they just thought, well, they just throw it out anyway, because they're expecting it about now. We haven't quite finished it, but no one will moan. Well, I'm going to moan. I'm going to moan a lot. Yeah, the graphic corruption is chronic. I don't know if it's to do with the metal update or what, but you know, you can have weird triangles and all sorts of artifacts going on, just switching between desktop windows on it and different bits and pieces. It's just like completely and utterly messed up there. Parallels, now I know I can't totally blame Apple for this. I mean, it maybe Parallels need to update themselves a bit, but Parallels, that is completely and utterly balked. I don't know, it's it just completely freezes sometimes, locks up, or I'm trying to do something with it, and if I switch from one desktop to back to Parallels, it all goes like completely corrupt and weird, and I can't see anything until like tap down on the desktop and then the screen appears. But sometimes it'll just freeze up completely, and I have to force restart the VM. So Parallels has got massive issues, but the biggest bugbear I've got at the moment with macOS High Sierra. Normally on a night, what I do with my MacBook Pro, I just unplug cinema display, other leads, close the lids, put it in bag, take it home, it power naps overnight, and I come back in and just open it up, it's ready again. Brilliant. That's one of the reasons I like Macs and the MacBooks, because you know, you can leave them on, you just close the lids, it sleeps, does power nap thing. When you get where you want it again, you open it up, it's all there as it was, perfect, brilliant, no waiting around, fantastic. Did that on Wednesday night, and basically when I unplugged the cinema display, the MacBook display just went to a black screen, but with like the cursor on, and then it did nothing. So I was like, oh, all right. So I closed the lid on the MacBook and went to put it in my bag. Except when I was putting it in my bag, I realised that the Apple logo was still lit up, i.e. the screen was still on. So I'm like, well, if it's just going to sit there with a screen on, it's going to drain the battery and whatever. Let's get back out, open it up again, just the black screen, nothing happening, couldn't do nothing. So I ended up force powering it off by holding down the power button, which isn't great for young computers, but you've got no choice. So that wasn't great. It rebooted alright the next day, but it's not really the point, and it's supposed to just shut down. So last night I thought, oh well, it must be some sort of, you know, weird glitch. Maybe I'll shut it down before I, you know, instead of closing the lid, and won't unplug the cinema display and just do shut down. It did shut down, and it shut down to the black screen with the cursor thing and didn't turn off. Same thing, but we're shutting it down. So by this time I'm just like, So tonight I think try the shutdown again. This time it didn't do the black screen. It just had all the screens lit up with my desktop and everything, but froze while shutting down. macOS High Sierra shipped high as a kite, completely. So I don't know what it is. It's just something's completely balked on it. I hope there's an update soon, because it's doing me noggin. Because like I say, I'm having to force it off all the time, force shut down the MacBook Pro. So big issues with High Sierra. Shall we do a bit of Richard analysis now, because we've got extra bits because I missed last week. Come on. So I'm going to wait for it to load up. I did email myself Mr. Analysis words of wisdom, so they're going to come on. Are they coming? Should we do them in a minute? Should we not do them now? Oh, here it goes. Took a bit of loading. Fortunately, the phone and watch are pretty good on the release of iOS 11 and watchOS 4, so that's good. So from last week, we missed, he'd been to an organ concert to see the organist Alan Horsey and his friend called Graham Grabin, and they also showed a clip of when Graham and the recital team went to Aachen in Germany as a choral concert on the 14th September. Is singing I'm a Believer from the Monkees on the Tuesday evening. That was a week ago Tuesday, of course. We've got this Tuesdays to do yet. Deaths of railway and wildlife artist David Shepherd and William G. Stewart. Wayne Rooney being a naughty boy and getting banned from driving. Although I believe that was the least of his problems, being banned from driving. I imagine the beating he got at home would have been more concerned. He saw me driving again at 7:05 PM when my mum drove to Pelham Lane by mistake instead of Keighley Road on her silver BMW. She was going to work in the evening on Monday. I don't think I was, but there's a lot of Renault cadges about, to be honest, Richard. I mean, mine's blue, and there's not so many blue, but there are still a few, so it could have not been me. It could have been anyone, really. Terrible London Underground on the Friday the 15th of September. Yeah, well, it's just, yeah. Recap of Classic FM as live as it also had Superman, E.T., Indiana Jones and Star Wars. Neil Woodhead, as he's back from his week... Oh, the camera must have gone off then, I didn't notice. Did it? I don't know. Oh well, we'll find out. We've been knitting together bits of footage and regurgitating it. We're not moving actually, so I can just loop the last section of the webcam, can't, because we're not moving. So what do we got? So classic Superman, E.T., Indiana Jones and Star Wars. What's that from? Oh, that was from Classic FM Live. Alright. Neil Woodhead is back from his 2-week American road trip. Great. So this week's things we shall do when we come back in a minute, because I better go and get me parcels done. So I shall catch you in a moment. Okay, parcel successfully dropped. Funny enough, last week's debacle, I ended up going to a shop near me on Saturday, who had also got a new gizmo, and his gizmo worked fine. So Monday night, I came and I had a load of parcels as usual. So I only brought about 3 or 4 in, a small collection, just to make sure that it was going to work. And bizarrely, it worked fine. I couldn't understand it, not one bit. I just didn't know. These two don't know who's going to go. They're fighting each other. Oh, well, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to do Richard's Words of Wisdom Mark II. So this week's, Richard Nellis mentions the death of Coronation Street's Liz Dawn, an end of an era, isn't it just, eh? That's very sad news. Fond memories, I used to watch that a lot with my mum used to watch it a lot, so I did get to watch it quite a lot, but yeah, it's sad. I mean, I don't watch it a lot nowadays, but the missus and eldest son do, I think. Now again, I don't know, because I'm always upstairs with the youngest watching YouTube and playing games. That's us. Then here, Richard Nelson was singing Crazy Crazy Nights by Kiss on Tuesday evening. Good song to sing, Richard. Very good song. The Labour conference with Jeremy Corbyn on Wednesday. Don't know. Did it happen? Maybe. Who knows? And Richard's going to Alton Towers in his annual holiday. It's going to be the 7th or 14th of October. So a late visit to Alton Towers, but it'll be quite good. It'll be quite spooky, won't it, for Halloween? I bet they're all decked up for that. Wayne Rooney's drawed Everton. Well, it's good to know he's worked out what to do with crayons nowadays. He maybe developed a few more skills. Now he's not playing football. I don't know. And then he's been to the Royal Armouries for a Penang Magpie trip, which were 2 shows about the field of cloth about Henry V. Was it the 8th? I don't know. Not really good with Roman numerals. It's VII. Is that 8? I think that's 8. Not sure. And the Viking combat. Also, it's been to the Penang Magpie 1940s coffee morning for its Macmillan coffee mornings this morning. But yes, the youngest was most put out that I'd not gone to his school's coffee morning, because I do coffee, so obviously I should go to the coffee morning. Fortunate I couldn't, because warehouseman's off today. Lady in the office who does all the invoicing and answering the phone and everything else was off today. So yeah, someone's going to do all the work. That'd be me. Don't ask me how we managed to coordinate that they were both off, warehouseman and the woman in the office, run back and forth like a loon. National Media Museum having a new exhibition called Tim Peake's Spacecraft. Yes, it does actually, and it's supposed it is actually the craft is there at the Bradford National Media Museum. I think it's there till October sometime, but you can go and see. It's the actual spacecraft that he landed. He went to the moon and came back again. Well, I don't know if he went to the moon actually, or if he went to space or something. I had a massive gap I could have gone then, but never mind. So there was a big gap coming after this one. No rush anyway. No rush. So yes, very good, Richard. We've got all your words of wisdom in this week, 2 weeks worth. That's not bad going, is it, really? I think I'm pretty impressed with that. So, other things of interest. Steemit continues to plough on. I keep trying to do some posts on there. I'm not doing a fantastic number, to be fair, but I'm trying to sort of keep up and do bits where I can. I don't know where. Go on then, little girl, in your little car. She's not actually that little. It's probably a woman. I don't know. So, yeah, I keep trying to post it. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with it still. I mean, it's a bit hard to work out. I've kind of worked out now that I do need to do this sort of promotion thing to get better value per post. So, rather than doing loads and loads of posts, which are getting, you know, relatively very little, I'm doing fewer ones. Ideally, I want to make them sort of very good quality. I mean, it's not that I was throwing rubbish up, but I want to make some fewer really good ones, and then use the promotion tools to get a greater sort of monetary value off them, as well as you know, hopefully pushing it in front of more people, getting more followers, and then naturally getting more posts upvoting, because it's a complicated thing, but you know, the people gain greater upvote value as they progress through it. So if you get a lot of high value people upvoting your post, you're going to get more back from it. But when you start out, no one of that caliber is really interested in what you're doing. So it's just a case of plugging away and working at it. But I've kind of worked out this thing now that I'm going to do a few sort of per week, but higher quality, and then use these upvoting tools to push it up. Of course, the problem is you need to pay, and just saw some woman disappearing there, so I'm just going to pop out from the cars. You've got to pay to use these upvoting tools, so especially like where I'm at the very start of it, there's a limited amount, and then once I've spent it, although you get you get more back than you're spending, you've got to wait 7 days to get that back, to then reinvest it on your next lot of posts. So there is a bit of a limitation there.
Warning, risk zone, speed limit 30 miles per hour.
So I've been holding up. I've been gonna do it the last couple of nights, but I'm still holding off on it. I want to do a post on Bitcoin mining, because I mean, Steemit is all about cryptocurrency anyway. I've still not worked out how the chuff posting blog posts and pictures and things eventually create some sort of blockchain currency stuff, but apparently it does. I mean, you know, I don't entirely know how this thing makes me move forward, but I still drive it, so that's my theory in life. You know, you don't always have to know exactly how something works to make use of it. So Steemit somehow does that, but so like I say, I was going to do a post on Bitcoin mining. The reason is I've kind of, like I say, I got into Bitcoin, and like I say, I also got into that sort of thing. I took the shares thing, hasn't gone so great, the shares thing, because I managed to buy into Ethereum when I thought it'd drop quite a lot, and then 2 days later there was this big thing in China where China like denounced all cryptocurrencies had been useless and it was going to create its own, and the whole market fell out the bottom of it. So my shares that I'd bought, I thought I was at the bottom, just plunged like a knife, completely down. And although now it's just about at the point I bought at, it's been down for ages, so I'm still waiting for that to go back up again. That's been like 2.5 weeks of it being well below what I'd bought at, so that was a bit of a error. So stocks and shares, there you are. If you don't know how about it, it's probably not a good idea to start writing about it, is it really? But there you are. So anyway, on the side of that, I got all into Bitcoin, and like I said, I think I mentioned before, you know, Bitcoin mining, as far as doing it at home, is pretty much gone. That bus has well and truly passed by the bus stop. So, but I'm still really interested in it, and I'm still interested in the fact that you can mine and create Bitcoins in fractions of them or whatever else, by making these blocks of hash algorithms with whatever you can. So I obviously got kind of interested into it, and I thought, well, I'll have a look about on eBay, because apparently if, you know, it's pretty much pointless trying to do it now, you can guarantee people will be trying to get rid of the stuff to do it with, because they do on eBay. So I had a look around, and I found some interesting little artifacts of Bitcoin mining. In fact, there's tons of it. It's obvious that everyone's now offloading it. They've made their few Bitcoins out of the hardware, realised that now most of it is more expensive in electric to run than you're going to make back in Bitcoin or fraction of Bitcoin. So they're just like, oh, we'll offload it now and see what we can get some money for it. And the bizarre thing is, if you hunt about on eBay for you know, Bitcoin mining stuff, you're going to find there's a lot of little USBs that do 2 or 4, maybe 3 gigahertz a second mining, which is pretty much not a great deal at all, to be fair. But they're still going for like 30, 40, 50, 60 at auction, which kind of leads me to believe that people are buying into it, not really knowing anything about it. Which is, you know, not surprising if you're interested in, and that's kind of an easy thing. You just plug it into your computer, then run a program, and there's a few different programs for your computer, and plug it in and it'll run away nicely. So I managed to pick up, I then picked up something called a Ladybirds Labs Jalapeno, and that's a 7 gigahertz per second, which isn't fantastic, but it was a nice looking bit of kit actually. It wouldn't look out of place in your sort of in your house on the side. It was very nicely finished and whatever else. A bit noisy when it runs with the fan going to cool it, but other than that it's fine. So I got that up and running, 7 gigahertz a second. I thought, oh, well, it's all right, but it's not really a lot. The pool I was using for the mining, I was kind of like way down the, I mean, I was always going to be way down, because like the top people are doing terahertz, terahashes a second. So if you're doing 7 gigahashes a second, obviously 1 terahash is 1,000 gigahashes, and 11,000 terahashes is just mind-blowingly large amount. So and this is part of the problem why Bitcoin mining is now just not worthwhile, because they've had to set the difficulty so high, because there's so much very high powered equipment out there, and people with big farms worth of equipment just completely thrashing it all out, that you can't have everyone on the same level, as it were. If they're producing Bitcoin by the second, then there'd be no need for Bitcoin. So the way they get round that is stupid people. The way they get around that is they set the difficulty ridiculously hard. So the harder difficulty is, the more time your gigahashes have to work at it, and terahashes and whatever else. So basically, yeah, that's how it's all kind of progressed, that now it's ridiculously hard to get even a fraction of a Bitcoin, even if you've got a ridiculous number of, you know, thousands and thousands of terahashes, you're not going to get hardly anything. So I progressed from that. I've found some auctions for some cheap Antminer S1s. These are do like 180 gigahashes a second, and they've got broken fans, so they needed the fans replacing. I thought, well, I'll keep an eye on them. If they go relatively cheaply. Oh, do you know, someone's parked in front of my house. Very annoying, that is. I have to park in front of next door's house because I can't get to here. I wonder if Ellis will be a little sweetie and go in and say, "Oi, you parked in my neighbour's driveway." Or maybe too busy playing football. So, yeah, so I had an auction on these two. Managed to win really a relatively good price. Apparently, it's yeah, is it in your house? Yeah, ask him to just move it back a bit. What a darling he is. Little Ellis. So I won these two. These ant miners. Thought great. Turned up. Got some cheap fans to put on. So relatively not a great deal of money. But the only thing is you've got to power them with computer PSUs. You need quite a lot of power to them. And I got one computer PSU that was 650 watts and they're only supposed to do 400 watt. So I thought I'll use that one. And I picked up another cheap 650 watt PSU. So I connected them as per the guide, wired them both in. Set one off, it was running. Went to set the other one off. Went back to the first one, it was off, which I thought was a bit weird. So I swapped out the power lead for the PSU, and it came back on again. I thought, oh, it must be a dicky power lead, isn't it? So, then oh, it's the old neighbour. Then I left it again, went down to the other one downstairs, that was still on. Went back to the upstairs one, it got off again. But what? Madness. So I managed to get in the settings for the bottom one and got it all set up for doing its work. Logged out of it, set it off, and would you believe, as soon as it started setting what it was doing off, because it's got these little blinky lights, and when they go blinky fast, you know it's doing some work, mining away, the power supply went off again. I was like, wait, what the chuff's all this about? You little monkey, he's attacking my car with his ball. He's shutting these gates. So, yeah, I was like, what the chuff's going on with these now? And then I thought, oh, I've just turned off the camera, is what I thought. I'll be looping that again now, won't I? I thought, well, what's going on? So I'd unplugged it to test the fuse, because I thought, well, what are the fuses going in these, or what? And the fuse was fine, so I thought, well, it's not the fuse, so what's turning off the power supply? So I went and plugged it back in, and it came on again. And then, as soon as it went to the blinky light working hard, it went off again. I thought, I wonder if the PSU's got some sort of overload protection, and that's what it is. So the thing itself has got two blades. You've got to run power to two sides, so you've got to split up your 12-volt cables between the two sides. So I disconnected one side and set it off, and lo and behold, it worked fine. So it turns out the amount of power this damn thing needs exceeded the maximum for the PSU's 12 volt, and it just presumed it was shorting or something and just shut down. And then obviously when you unplug it from the mains and then plug it back in again, it sets off again. So in the end, this amazing idea of getting these cheap things and running them to mine Bitcoin just out of interest more than anything else, then involved me. I was trying to work out, because it was like, well, your power supply, you really need these really high-end Corsair power supplies or whatever else because of the amount of it needs. And I was like, well, I'm not paying ridiculous 4 times what I paid for the thing for a power supply. This is ludicrous. As I thought, well, I'll tell you what, I'll get 2 cheapy 600-watt power supplies and use 2 power supplies to run the one thing, because it runs one blade fine with what I'd got. So I can just plug in another power supply to run the other side. Did that, and it's been running fine since. So I was going to do this little post about all this malarkey on Steam, but I've not got there yet. But I will do that. I've got some pictures of them. Because they're interesting looking beasts. I quite like looking at it sort of running away on its own. But the most interesting thing about it is, obviously, everyone's like, well, it's a waste of time now, it's just using electric, and, you know, you're going to get tiny fractions of Bitcoin. But I set it up, one of them, the two, in my roasting room, whirring away. And the interesting I found this week, while they've been running, when I go in there, it's warm in there. And it's unheated, so it's normally freezing in there. I'll go in and it might be, say it's 12 degrees. It's the same temperature as the rest of the warehouse, which is damn cold. But go into my roasting room now, because I've got the plastic strips down as you go in. Go in there, it's warm. it's warmed it up. So that thing running, unbelievably, with its fans going, whatever else, is keeping my little roasting room warm when I'm not using it. Which is actually a bonus to me. And I'm thinking, oh, I could use a few of these to keep the rest of the warehouse warm when we're not there. Because we shut down the main heater, which runs the whole place, last year, and got some heating in just for the bits we're in, which is fine. But of course, you get all damp and cold into everywhere else that's not heated. And the big old heater, which admittedly cost a ridiculous amount of money to run, was keeping other areas of the warehouse that are now cold. Oh no, the oldest's now wandering behind me. So yeah, so that was quite good. So I'm kind of thinking I might pick a few more of these up and just have them whirring away in places to keep all the damp off in the warehouse. Plus, you know, it's keeping places warm and generating fractions of Bitcoin. So it's a win-win. So there you are. That's been my journey, and hopefully I'll put that post on Steam up shortly. So I'll probably tweet it out. I might even put it at the bottom of here, but it'll be so far gone that you'll not notice it. So anyway, have a good weekend and week next week, and I shall catch you in next week's coffee vlog. Okay, see ya.